So there are times in your business that you need to make those decisions, and the faster you make those decisions and the faster you fail, the sooner you succeed. Hey, this is Iman Agai, and I'm super excited for being with you guys, talk about entrepreneurship and how you can grow your business. So one of the questions that I actually got on Facebook from people is, what are the 3 things you wish you knew when you decided to be courageous and become an entrepreneur? Now, one of the things for me about being an entrepreneur is that when you want to become an entrepreneur, the very first thing I always recommend to people is talk to people that it impacts their life if you become an entrepreneur. For example, if you're married, becoming an entrepreneur impacts your spouse, right? Or if you have kids, it's going to impact your kids. Or if you are having like other people that are supporting you in life, it's going to impact. It's going to make an impact on their lives. So one of the things that I always suggest to people is, like, when you are getting started, have a conversation with people who are going to get impacted as a result of your work. Now, if I knew this when I began my first business, I would actually have a lot less challenges in my relationships, in my family, stuff like that. So one of the first things is just kind of like make sure you have a conversation, let them know, hey, I've decided to start a business, whether it's a side business or you're going to actually spend your entire time on that business, and get their buy-in to actually buy into your vision, and just kind of like allow you to actually go after your dream and bring your dream to reality, right? That's one thing. The second thing that I wish I knew when I started was that no matter what I do, there is gonna be times that I'm gonna fail. And no matter how much you plan in advance, no matter how much you think in advance, no matter how much you talk to people and do market research, all of those things, there are coming days, you will have days that you're gonna fail. And if there are times that you are gonna fail, then you might as well make decisions much faster than planning. Because here's the thing, sometimes you plan the hell out of everything you can, and then you go and implement that plan, and it still fails, right? And if it's going to fail, then why would just kind of like there is a 50-50 chance to succeed or fail on making certain decisions. Why would you waste so much time on thinking about it and wasting time and trying to make everything perfect? You can go out there, you can implement your plans, and you can see if it failed or succeeded. A few weeks ago, I was talking to my team about my team member. I said, Iman, sometimes I wonder like why you make certain decisions. And I'm like, okay, so tell me about it. And she talked about like certain questions that they had asked me. They're like, okay, we asked you this question, and right away you answered like this. And I said, yes. And she was like, well, I didn't know why. I didn't know why you chose this one or that one. And I said, well, the questions that you guys were asking me, I didn't know the answer. But the way that I thought about it is that whether we do A or we do B, one of them is going to fail. I don't know if A is going to fail or B is going to fail. Well, let's do A or B and see if it failed. And then in 2, 3 days, 5 days, we can make a decision and switch to B if A was wrong. If A was right, then we are 3 days ahead of plan. Instead of we wait for 3 days, 5 days to think about this and plan, and then choose B, and then it fails. And then we go and implement A. Might as well make the decision, implement it, and if it's failing, right away we know, right away we're going to improve it, right? So there are times in your business that you need to make those decisions, and the faster you make those decisions and the faster you fail, the sooner you succeed, right? So failure is a way to success, and that's just kind of like allows you to make decisions faster and go faster and do stuff faster. And the third thing was actually understanding, like the third thing I knew, like I wish I knew when I started as an entrepreneur, was the value. At the beginning, when I began my journey, I thought if I want to hire team members, I need to pay them really well. I thought like the entire value I can give to my team is just the money, And then later on, I realized that's not actually true. Now I have other videos that's about hiring and firing process and about the HR and stuff like that. But one of the things that I realized later on as a business owner is that the only value that you give to your team members is not the money that you pay them. You give a lot more values to your team members. One of the interesting things is that when it comes to team members, for example, the biggest reason that team members quit their job is because they don't feel appreciated and they don't feel that they're seeing any progress. Interesting enough, a lot of team members would stay on board with the company that they feel progress and they feel appreciated even for less income, right? Now, I'm not suggesting that, pay your employees less, but what I'm saying is that money is not the only reason that people work in a company or do stuff with you. Now, over the years, I had a ton of volunteers working with us for different businesses, for different purposes in different companies. Now, and one of the things that I realized is that one of the biggest values that we give to our team members is actually the learning process, all the extra stuff, all the appreciation, all the team building, all the other things that are involved, right? A few weeks ago, I was looking for a full-time marketing coordinator for one of my brand new businesses as a volunteer, And within a couple of days, we actually had 5 people applied for a full-time job as a volunteer, right? And the reason that we wanted the work to be as a volunteer is because this is a brand new company, and we are bootstrapping it. And we didn't have that company doesn't have a lot of budgets, right? So as you guys know, I'm a serial entrepreneur. I built several companies and I bootstrap most of the companies that I built. So it's just kind of when we're beginning the company, there is not a lot of budget and stuff. So I started as if I'm a brand new entrepreneur. So that company didn't have a lot of budget, right? I went on Facebook, and I asked people, I said, I'm looking for a person who likes to be a marketing coordinator as a volunteer with us. And here is the thing. You can actually implement lots of stuff that we are gonna do, but you're gonna learn a lot. And if you are going to have the same vision, which for that company was learning how to become an international public speaker and building a public speaking business. And I said, if you want to learn how to be an international public speaker and build a public speaking business, then there's an amazing role as a volunteer to come on board and learn how you can do marketing as an international public speaker and help us to expand the company. And I had several people that actually applied for that job. And we got on the phone, we had really great options of people who were very good, very successful, and they wanted to learn how to actually expand internationally. Now, can we continue using their help as a volunteer for the next 2 years or 3 years? No, that's not the point. The point is though that now we have a team member on board that is going to help us to support us and help us to go to expand this company to 6 figures in a really short time. And when we get to 6 figures, when we get to the place that we can afford paying that marketing coordinator, then we're going to switch it. We're going to change it to marketing coordinator, right? Now, in the video that I'm gonna that you're gonna watch, we have another video on HR and human resources, how to get team members and stuff. I'm gonna talk about how to how it's important that the team members of your company buy into your vision that you have for the company. We're gonna talk about that. I also have another video that is about how to even get people to buy into your vision and how to get clear about your vision. So you can watch all of those videos. But it's the important part to realize that you don't need to have a lot of money to actually have team members, or you can actually even get team members for free as volunteers, but you have to make sure that you are giving them more value than just money. And this is not people just don't want money, right? Now, one last piece. This is not one of the 3 things I wish I knew when I began, but I want to recommend to you now that we are talking about this, is build your network. Build your network every single day. If you are building a business, remember, you are not working 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. You're working from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m., 10 p.m. What that means is that you are working hard for the first 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, year, 2 years, and you are gonna put the work, you're gonna build a network, you're gonna build your connections. You wanna work from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. People say you gotta work hard and you should work smart. That's not necessarily true, because a lot of people right now at this day and age are working smart. So if you want to get ahead of your competition, you got to work smart, but you got to work hard. You can't just work smart. You're not going to have a competitive edge by just working smart. You got to work hard and you got to work smart for this at this day and age to be able to succeed. And as part of that, one of the greatest things you can do is building relationships and going out there, going to networking events, going to seminars, going to conferences, building relationship with the organizers, with people, with the speakers, with people that are hanging out at those events. Expand your vision and expand your connections on a regular basis. So that's the top 3 things I wish I knew when I had started and want to become courageous and become an entrepreneur. And I see you at another video.